Welcome, everybody, to session 4 of the Business Analyst Series 2023. Thank you for joining us today, you guys. Get my slides to move. Okay, so for the next 90 minutes, we're going to be going again through some of the material that we've talked about for this session. If you guys would keep yourself on mute and just put any questions you have in the chat, that would be great. We also encourage you to network. We've been sharing our LinkedIns on the chat, and we want to make sure you guys are using the forum. You guys have been doing a really great job of putting any questions you have on there, even answering each other's questions, which is also great. And just participating and sharing any details that you have or any questions you have. And we want to make sure you guys have fun. So I'm going to move to the next slide. As you know, I'm Diana Graham, the Community Marketing Manager for the Americas. We have Christina Vadu, who's a Global Manager for the marketing community, on the phone as well. And we have Manjula, who's the founder of The Next Innings. We have Mukesh Kala, who's the RPA Manager from the Boundary List Group. And we have Ashwathi, who is part of our Academic Alliance here at UiPath. So this is the fourth, week 2, the 4th session. So I will talk again about our speakers. We have our senior product managers, Christina, Avram, and Nupur, and Nani, who are here today. And Mukesh will be helping us too with some of our projects. So the first session that we did on Monday, we covered the topics of process mining versus task mining, the introduction of process mining, and the project stages. They also covered the rest of the agenda. So today we're going to switch up the schedule a little bit because we received so many requests about the project. So we are going to have Christina and Nupur do an overview of what was covered. And then we're going to open it up to you guys for questions, any questions you have about process mining and task mining. Next, we're going to do our quiz, Menti, where you have an opportunity to win some prizes for the top 3 people who come in with the top scores. So we're excited to do that. And then lastly, we're going to be talking a little bit, actually, I'm going to cover a certification opportunity that you guys can participate in. And we're going to go through the demo days and projects so that you guys understand a little bit clearer what's the expectation is. So I'm going to just start with the certification opportunity before Nupur and Christina come on. So the UiPath certification team recommends that you complete the series, which is the BA series we're going through now, and that you take 2 courses. One is the UiPath Document Understanding Overview and the UiPath Communication Mining Overview. We will go through this again towards the end of this series, but that's just before you would attempt taking certification, they think it's a good idea for you guys just to have an overview of those 2 courses. They will also, as we end the series, be sending out an email to all of our participants with a knowledge check to see how you did on this series, how you did on the self-paced training, and they will give you 2 weeks to complete that. And then what they will do is for the top 25% of scores, they will give you 50% off the certification for the UiABA exam or the Business Analyst exam with UiPath. So this is an opportunity for you guys to do the knowledge check. And if you score well, then they will give you a 50% off discount. And if you have any questions about that, we can talk about that later in this session. Or you can put those questions in chat and I can answer them later. But for right now, I'm going to turn over this to Nupur and Christina.
Awesome. Thanks, Diana. So we did cover, and I just saw in the chat as well, did we send out recordings from the prior sessions?
Yes.
Okay, so if you missed yesterday, not a big deal, or I think it was Monday, excuse me, not a big deal. They will send out the recording, but again, just a quick review, we covered an introduction of continuous discovery, and then we double clicked into both process mining and task mining. Because we were on a roll, we ended up going through most of our content. So we wanted to give you more time to be able to spend on your self-study. But before you do that, we just wanted to do a quick summary of really what we went over here. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. All right.
So Nupur, apparently we have some feedback that your voice is not as clear. Not sure if you can do something about it.
Try something else.
All right. Is it better now?
Perfect.
Perfect. All right. Okay, so when we were looking at process mining and task mining, we first really level set on where this falls within the business automation platform. So obviously, as you know, we have 3 pillars: discover, automate, and operate. You're going to spend a lot of your time understanding how data flows through these 3 pillars to actually generate and run successful automations. But as we click into specifically continuous discovery, we're looking at process mining and task mining as the places to kind of double click into. Now, comms mining is just as important. It's just a different session, as well as idea capture and management, which is Automation Hub. Now, when we're considering process mining and task mining, we've really talked about where the data comes from, because that's going to be the primary differentiator in the way that you approach it. Now, process mining has the data coming directly from the business applications. So an example might be, hey, we're doing purchase to pay in SAP, and we are going to get the logs directly from SAP, ingest them into process mining using our either connectors or other kinds of ingestion pipelines. And then we're going to go ahead and use process mining to visualize the bottlenecks. Now, this is an end-to-end macro process, but it's focusing on getting those logs from the application. Whereas task mining might be a little bit more of a micro view of that. Now, this is going to be tasks that are across multiple applications, maybe with some data movement, or tasks that are done with applications that don't have logs available, that you couldn't use process mining on. So common examples are moving through multiple applications, like going from mail into Excel into another maybe proprietary ERP. With comms mining, we're looking at the business conversation, so leveraging NLP to be able to better understand how the way that people communicate impacts the business. And so we were really looking at the different kinds of data there. And then it all kind of flows into Automation Hub as we manage and prioritize high ROI ideas. So the idea is that it all comes back into one centralized location that allows you to be able to not just understand and discover where you should automate, but then prioritize that automation backlog as well. Now, one thing really quick I do want to call out, because there were some questions around the nomenclature of the different names and how they relate. With task mining, we do have a task capture product. Now, task capture was the original technology that helped us basically generate a recorder that goes on your desktop and captures those clicks and types. Think of task capture as an introduction to task mining. Task mining has taken that same technology and expanded on it. It's added AI capabilities as well as analysis capabilities that allow you to take it a step further. Now, with task mining, because we've now introduced this idea of both assisted and unassisted, which we showed you actually earlier as well, one thing to call out is that, assisted task mining could be considered the, I'll swap it here. Assisted task mining could be considered the evolution of task capture. So it's not to say that, task capture isn't going to be available. You can continue to use it. You can continue to leverage that as a mapping tool as well. But assisted task mining brings all of those features into the web and allows you to build in with some AI as well. So I did want to double click on that because the naming can be a bit confusing between task capture, task mining, assisted, and unassisted. But think of them as all under one umbrella. But you start more frequently in the kind of the newer projects we've seen are starting, instead of task capture, they're starting in assisted task mining. And we are seeing more people move from task capture into assisted task mining. So I did just want to call that out as well. As far as another piece of review of what we went through here, one thing to call out is also just, we did get some questions around how this all ties together, as well as, Christina gave a demo with process mining. So just keep in mind here, the different kinds of data that we see are really what helps us digest these ideas into Automation Hub and then actually take action on it. So the way that we visualize this frequently is they're kind of all level playing field: process mining, task mining, comms mining. They go into Automation Hub, and then obviously they go into your actual creation of automations. We got some questions last time also around, where do you start? It really depends on your use case, right? And the appetite that the business has to be able to invest in this. What we've noticed is obviously folks with larger enterprise organizations tend to start with process mining because they have access to large ERPs that have those application data pieces that could ingest into process mining. Whereas maybe folks that are smaller organizations or don't have access to maybe getting that IT support to get that data might start with task mining or comms mining as well. So just something to be aware of in as you're considering the different areas. Christina, am I missing anything?
No, I think you kind of covered it. I think one of the interesting questions that were raised last time, but I don't know whether we spent enough time on it, was how we are able to demonstrate value with process mining and task mining. And I think it would be great for us to cover that as well. So from the process mining side, the majority of time, what works very, very well is if you are going to connect the objectives that you have with process mining to the objectives that you have for your entire company. So normally we are looking at connecting directly to the high-level objectives. So high-level objectives could be being more efficient, reducing rework, reducing the costs for doing something in our processes, or I don't know, maybe improve the customer satisfaction. So once we are able to identify insights in both process mining and task mining, it is important for us to think about, okay, if we are going to fix these insights, this problem that we have uncovered, how we are going to move the needle in the right direction for the top level KPIs. And that is also going to help us to get more investment and buy-in from our stakeholders, is going to help us to drive more impact in our organization by fixing the things that we are uncovering. And we can really see how process mining and task mining are actually helping us in our day-to-day job. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
One thing I will call out, and this may not be specific to your certifications because this is something that's a little bit newer, but something to be aware of if you really want to be on, I think, forefront of the technology of where it's going, is, to Christina's point, they're very well tied together. And one of the things we're investing in on the product side is integrating and tying process mining and task mining together even closer. So one of the things to be aware of is, I think in the future, you might see more and more of the integration being tighter. You might see more and more instances of, actually being able to take macro data and drill down to it at a micro level, so process mining to task mining, or being able to see micro snapshots of task mining data back into process mining. So seeing like an integrated view of your end-to-end process, that's definitely where the product is going. Just checking the chat here, if there are any questions. Looks like it's mostly just access related, of getting your hands on the keyword and testing it out. I believe last time, Christina Vidu also shared some of the demos that we have. So we do have publicly available made demos beyond just our community or things like that. Question around spending some time around the analysis portion of task mining and process mining. We did touch on this last time, but you're right, we can go back to it. So let me just open up an instance here to demo. I could start with the task mining analysis, or Christina, do you want to start with the process mining analysis? Whichever one works for you.
You can go ahead. I'm responding to another question now.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll go ahead and start with the task mining analysis. So when you're looking at task mining.
Nupur, if you can share the screen.
Yep, I'm just about to do that. Perfect.
Thank you.
Yep, had to just pull it up. So this one is specifically unassisted task mining, but most of what I'm about to tell you applies to both unassisted and assisted task mining. But basically, once we get our analysis results of our actual tasks, this is really key for you as roles within the organization as business analysts. This is really where the meat of the value comes from in your role, which is being able to digest this data. Now, one of the things we've done as a product is we've tried to really enhance this experience by making it something that is easier to digest and just giving you a bunch of output. It's still a ton of data, but we've tried to pare it down a little bit. Now, one thing you saw right off the bat there, and actually I'll move back, is that I have this output of 11 tasks. That's basically the AI telling me, hey, based off the pipeline, we have seen these 11 repetitive workflows done, and we think they're material enough or important enough that you should consider them for automation. We've ranked them, which this one is bookmarked, that's why it's at the top, but we've ranked them by automatability. Now, once we've done that, if we click into it, we have this concept of variants. Variants are groupings of different of the instances of doing this task. Now, this task is really what's defined as a task by AI. So it could be part of a business task, right? It could be the full business task. It could be two business tasks together. So just keep in mind that task as it's defined by AI may not be what task is defined by business. And so we do always consider that as well. We can see the different flows here because it's looking and focusing on, specifically this example was creating leads in Salesforce. And then generally what I like to do is I like to go through and get an understanding of each of the variants. So when I click on a variant, I can see how it highlights here the flow. So it looks like this has got kind of the majority of it, but it's missing the front and the bottom. Maybe I'll look at something that's a little bit more indicative. So this one has a little bit more of the flow. It's got more of the top and the bottom as well. And it's got 7 traces. Something I might do here is I might pause and say, okay, business, what do you need to see from this? Are you looking at outliers? Are you looking at specifically the happy path, something that's more common? What are you looking for? Now, if we're looking for outliers, it's fairly simple to go ahead and filter for that. Right? We can look at outliers based off of execution time, go look at all the traces that are, outside of the SLA. If we're looking for outliers, we could go filter on the steps that are least common as well. If we're looking for the happy path for this example, we might want something that's pretty much covering most of our steps. So this one covers most of our steps, and I'm going to just pick one that's probably an average in the middle on time. So this one, 213, is probably an average on time. Let's see if this really indicates what people are doing for me. So it looks like here then what I can do is really go see every click and type. So as I'm looking at those clicks and types here, couple things that usually are done. We could have had PII enabled, so this was masked. We didn't in this scenario, so we don't see any masking, but we see all the data. We also could have had the user anonymized. We chose not to do that, so I can see the user information. But as I'm going through, I can see every click and type. So I can see that what they're doing is they're actually submitting a lead and they're adding a note to the lead. And then, if I want to speed through it, I can see actually how they fill out the lead form. Now, once that lead was created, maybe something else happened here, like they had to connect it or convert it. So we can see that the lead has been converted. And then the last screenshot is actually them starting the new task. So it's moving on to the next one. And that's kind of a loop detection mechanism of, hey, you finished one instance of doing this. Now you're moving on to the next one. Now, even within a few minutes of just reviewing this data, if I didn't know anything that was happening, I could at least go through and look at these clicks and types and get an idea of what's happening. Now, the key here is to do that a little bit at a high level and then take it into where you can actually automate. So some of the things for automation that I might look at are execution time. I might look at frequency. How frequently does this entire flow happen versus, the other flows that we saw? And I might look at the amount of steps that it covers as well. So those are some of the things you can do, but really the analysis depends a little bit on what the business is looking for. So the key here is before you spend time really going through and understanding and digesting the data, know what you're supposed to be looking for from the business side. Is it the happy path or is it the outliers? And why are we looking for certain things? Going in and just looking to look can be a really misleading way to just get lost in all the data. Now, as I'm going through, ideally, I would do that process across the board with, all of these different flows, and I can start understanding where things are truly deviating. Right? So maybe in this instance, somebody's doing something very different than here, and I want to know why. I can see that more than majority of them are going this way. So I might focus on variants that go that way, right? Again, I'm making some assumptions here. around what people are doing and what I care about, but that's how you start to digest the data. Similarly, with assisted task mining, it's this process, but at a smaller scale even. With assisted task mining, we're just looking at some distinct instances of the traces or completion instances of the task, and we're looking at their variance. We usually know what the task is. So for example, in that scenario, we would know, hey, I am looking at creating a new lead, and I just specifically want to know where people are doing this differently. Where do they deviate from that flow so I can make sure my automation takes care of it. The other piece here is that this with unassisted task mining does not have really an editing capability. I don't have a way to take this flow and edit it directly. One of the things that you can do in assisted task mining, same with task capture, is you can edit the flow. So if you decide, hey, this covers 80% of it, but I do feel like it's missing some of the onboarding standards that we need. Maybe it's an extra step here or there. You can edit those flows to add manual steps in assisted task mining, which might be what the output of what your team needs, which is actually something along the lines of an onboarding document with a clear flow. So you can always add different steps. In those steps, you could even add different actions, and you could edit those actions and steps as well. So just something to be aware of. At a high level, one thing I definitely recommend looking at is looking at our docs because they do have an introduction into how to do this analysis as well as provide a guide. But one of the things to be aware of is just, unassisted task mining is going to tell you what those repetitive flows are, whereas assisted task mining, you might be telling it what the flow is and then determining the differences for yourself. Awesome.
Nope, we have a question about whether assisted task mining is removing the duplicate screen captures.
Yeah. So with assisted task mining, if you have different clicks on the same screen, they will still populate. But if you have duplicate screens, then you can delete them easier and they will be removed. When you merge, they will also be removed because they'll be marked as redundant. So one thing to remember is even with task capture and with assisted task mining, all of the screenshots come from every click and type. So if you take multiple clicks and types on one screen, it's going to take multiple screenshots of that screen. You can change it so that it doesn't do that in the settings. But the point here is that really what we're looking for is to replicate what a human does for the automation. And the automation would need to know those clicks and types. So you usually want that data in your PDD. Good question. Christina, you want to go through a little bit of the analysis portion for process mining?
Yep, sure. Just a second. So in process mining, we are going to go a little bit through how the application looks like once the data is already loaded in. So there are some different dashboards that are available whenever you are starting a particular application. So there are some dashboards that we are creating out of the box for the majority of our applications, just because we want to for you to have a good starting point whenever you are analyzing your data. But on top of that, you can also create custom dashboards that are going to help you answer or investigate a specific problem that you have seen in your particular process. So whenever we are looking at an overview dashboard, we can see how the number of cases is fluctuating over time. We can see some high-level information about our variants. Variants are different ways in which our end-to-end process is executed. And we can also see high-level information about what are the unique activities in the process. We could correlate an activity in process mining with a step in task mining, for example, just to have a correlation between the two concepts. And we can also see how many cases have every single type of activity. What is also important is that in process mining, you have some high-level KPIs that are computed out of the box, but you can also add new KPIs if you want to respond to a specific business question, like, I don't know, what is the amount of invoices that are correctly processed versus the amount of invoices overall. So whenever we are looking at the analysis, the recommendation is to start to analyze the high-level information that is presented in the end-to-end dashboard, for example. And the process graph is one of the powerful capabilities that we have available in order to unlock the analysis phase. So what you can do in the process graph is that you can start with a very low granularity of how your process is actually executed. And here we can see what is the most common path. We can see how many cases are flowing through every single activity. But in the same time, we can also see how the process is deviating from the main path. And here we can evaluate whether these are steps that are expected or not, or steps that we would like to investigate in a little bit more detail. And then whenever we are increasing the level of detail, definitely we are going to uncover new edges and new activities that are going to appear in our process. And we can see things like rework activities. So it looks like for a lot of cases, for 53 cases, we are doing the final check of invoice multiple times. Is this something that is normal or not? It's something that we need to figure out. So just for you to have a little bit of an understanding how things are flowing in process mining, we can also use the animation capability that should be available in production pretty soon. But I think it's going to be very helpful for you to understand. So every single dot that you are seeing here is basically a single case that is flowing through the entire process. And you can see how the actual cases are divided across multiple paths. You can see where the cases are, let's say, are in a particular loop. You can see how they are actually flowing, and maybe they are going to do some rework activity here. So in a nutshell, this is how process mining is normally working. What is also interesting is that you can use filtering capabilities in order to dive in a little bit more detail and try to analyze your data based on the case attributes that you have, or maybe some activity attributes that you have. And also you can see how a particular case is executed end-to-end if you also want to do that. So for example, in the chart dashboard, we are able to see what are all the activities and the order of activities that are executed as part of this particular case. And we can also see how much time every single activity is taking us. And if we are going back to the actual process graph, we can also play around with the KPIs that are being displayed in the process graph. And for example, we can switch it to the event throughput time. And just by looking at this, we can see that we have a bottleneck here because this particular activity is taking a very, very long time. So we have around 3 days we are spending in this particular activity. And this is an interesting point where we can do things that are related to other products in our platform. So we can try to analyze this particular activity using a task mining project and try to invite some of our colleagues that are performing this activity in their day-to-day life. We can invite them and ask them, hey, please record how you are performing this particular activity so that we can see what is the type of information and where we are spending so much time for this particular activity. So for example, this is how you are actually starting a task mining project, and the configuration is very, very simple. But what is also interesting is that you can also see what is the result from the task mining integration. So we can see that based on the analysis that we have right now in task mining, this particular step is normally taking 21 minutes. So now the question is why in process mining we are capturing that it takes 3 days. So it looks like there might be a problem in waiting times versus processing times, and maybe this is something that we want to further investigate. And then we also have additional dashboards that are really helpful whenever you want to track, for example, specific business rules. Unfortunately, I don't have a business rule configured here. But if we are interested, for example, that one particular approval should not happen multiple times, this is the type of business rule that we can configure and we can monitor. And we can see exactly how many cases and what cases are breaking that particular business rule. And then we can do things like maybe we want to automate it, maybe we want to trigger a notification based on this particular information. So we have some actionability available. And then we also have due date information. Maybe I have another application that has this. So for the tags, this is how things are going to look like. So for example, one business rule in this particular situation would be to receive an invoice without having a purchase order approval. So maybe this is something that we want to track. For the due dates, unfortunately, I don't have it here as well. But the idea for the due date would be we want to track that one particular activity in process mining is taking less than a particular amount of time, or the end-to-end execution of the process is going to take less or more than a particular amount of time. And then we also have automation potential simulation that helps us to understand how much time we can save if we are going to automate a particular activity. So, for example, if we are going to simulate that we are going to maybe automate the restore purchase order activity based on some parameters that we are normally using in the automation hub assessments as well, we can simulate how much time, how much we are going to increase the automation rate for this particular activity. And we can also see how much we are going to reduce the time for the manual processing and how many people we are actually going to free up as a result of this particular automation. And if we are happy with these results, we can even send this information to Automation Hub as an idea with the additional information that we have from process mining, so that we are able to prioritize it and make sure that we are getting to a point where we are actually automating this. So I'm going to stop here for a bit. If there are other questions, let me check the chat.
I think there was one question a while ago about determining the activity names. So does process mining tell you how it's determining the activity names during the data ingestion process? And do you get time to like customize those, or is it kind of just determined directly from the logs?
Yeah, this is a very good question. So in general, the activity name of the event, it's something that you are kind of creating just because you know exactly what is the type of action that is being performed in your end-to-end process. And the process owner is going to be the one that knows the best what are these high-level activities that they would like to track. But for the applications that we are currently supporting, if you are creating a new application, for example, here in Purchase to Pay, in our documentation, we are showing you what are the activity names that we are recommending you to start with. And those activity names are usually mapped to a particular IT system event log that is going to be used in order to populate the event logs in process mining. And you can find that information in our documentation. I can try to look for it. But yeah, you can either define them or use our recommendations and start from there. I hope it is clear.
Awesome. I think there's a lot of interest in projects and getting automation started. So just for the purpose of time, if there aren't any other questions, we can hand it off back to, I think, Diana and Mukesh, who could talk a little bit more about your project.
Yeah, great. I'm going to just let people, if they had a question that wasn't answered, just open up the mic and ask it.
Sure.
Just real quick. Anybody? Before we get moving on?
Yeah, hi Dana. I sent you a chat and a message separately regarding me missing a couple of the initial classes and registering.
Sure. So we can address that. So what you want to do is just go to the series, listen to the recordings, take the self-study, and you're right on board with everybody else. All the recordings are there. And then also we have a forum thread. I can put that back in the chat as well.
I will put it so
okay.
I can copy paste it.
So between the forum, Chris, do you want to explain what you do with the messages in the forum every week?
So I think we also had a question like if we can make one document where we can put together all the resources like logged on the week's sessions and everything. I can do that as well. The point was not to overwhelm you. This is why we use those 1-bit emails after each session, so as to direct you only to the next step, so you don't feel overwhelmed with the whole information about the whole series. But we can do that as well. So what we do is we send a wrap-up email to all of you after each session. And also the same email is information, you get it in forum after each session. So if you are logged in and you have the link to the forum thread, Next day after each session, you will see all the information there, and also there the trainers, our MVPs can answer, also the hosts can answer. It's moderated, and many times your peers will answer as well. So please use the forum thread for any questions you have from now on, and also for searching up information regarding the last sessions. So you will have each time the recording of the session, the date for the last session, and everything that you need in the forum thread. I will paste the link again in the chat, but please make sure that everyone logs in and checks it out.
Okay, thank you.
Hi everyone.
Anything else?
Hi everyone. I'm sorry, having a bad throat infection. Not sure if you are able to listen to me. Do we have any capability in our process mining that we upload the as-is process map and it tells us that the process is being conducted in the same way, or is there any deviation?
Yeah, this is an excellent question, and this is something that we are going to launch by the end of this year. So we are getting ready to launch a BPMN import capability that will allow you to bring your own BPMN model into process mining, and we are going to align the data on top of the BPMN model that you are providing. And another capability that will be available at the beginning of next year, we are thinking before February, is going to be the conformance checking, which will automatically detect what are the deviations between the model that we imported and the actual data that is being executed and that we are analyzing. So both of these things are going to be available pretty soon.
Awesome, thank you.
And I think we have one hand up. Ade.
From
Yeah.
Ade.
Yes, good morning. I wanted to ask regarding the certification. I noticed that the course outline in UiPath Academy changed from like 23 hours and it got like shrunk down to like 15. So like some courses were taken out like Refer and Selectors and Studio and Document Understanding. I just wanted to confirm like when we're doing like a self-study, because I like to be, I'm looking at the path that was given in the documentation for the exam, it still has all of those listed in there. So do we do like an overview of these, or are we supposed to do like deep dives for the certification?
Okay, great question. So as some of you have noticed, there's been a transition in the BA learning path. There's actually several up on the web right now, but we have met with the certification team and are following our original plan, and they've guided us on, that's why I posted those 2 additional courses in the chat. And Mukesh, I don't know if you have anything to add, but basically you need to follow what we're doing in this series. It will definitely will give you everything you need to know. It aligns with the speakers in our sessions, and you guys will be fine. Don't deviate from what our plan is. There
Thank
is
you.
going to be an advanced course learning path that comes out, but that really has nothing to do with this session at this point.
And I think it's important to mention that the objective, after all, so you will get what you see here in bits and pieces after each course, but the end objective for you is to complete this whole learning plan. Yeah, so this is like the main link, Automation Business Analyst Foundation. What you see in each wrap-up email are 2 or 3 courses from this whole learning plan. The end objective of the series is to take you through all of this and complete the learning plan. And it will be followed, as Diana said, yes, next year after an advanced course in BA. So maybe that will be a next step and probably a next series for next year. But for now, this is the learning plan for you to get the Academy diploma for BA Analyst Foundation, and also to make the first step and take the test, the trial for certification, and maybe receive the voucher and see whether you want to try your hand at gaining the ABA certification with UiPath. So this is like our goals in steps for you now.
Got it. Thank you.
Great.
I've seen there are also like a lot of questions regarding community cloud and trial licensing and access to process mining and task mining. So I think we should tackle that a bit to see how they can actually have access to the product and use technology.
Yeah, definitely. So process mining right now is not available, unfortunately, in community edition. So probably you can start a trial if you're going to have an enterprise license. But for example, if you want to start very quickly with process mining with a process that you already know, and you have some automations that are running, you can also use process mining to analyze your automation. So keep that in mind. And for task mining, Nopur, I think we are available in community.
Yep, we are available in community, so you can go ahead and use both assisted and unassisted task mining. I do recommend starting with assisted task mining. You can also access task capture in all of the different licenses. The only difference is that you may see that some of the licenses just have limited accessibility where you can only use it a few times versus unlimited, but that's it. You should still be able to capture and record and then be able to analyze the data.
Thank you. So yeah, the community edition will have some limits, of course, because it's meant for non-commercial use. It's made for training use. And for process mining, please start a trial license, especially for process mining if you want. So you usually have a trial license, I think, for 60 days. I give you the links. And you can also, I will give you the link to the whole platform, like UiPath Product Technologies, where you can get access and see what you can activate in terms of trial license.
Yeah, I know that a lot of you folks want to get your hands on the keyboard and get hands-on experience. And we totally understand that. Things with like process mining are just a little bit harder to do that because of the scale of the data that you would have to start with. So if you don't have a bunch of scaled sample data, it can be a little bit difficult. So I definitely recommend to start by looking at the demos that are available on the docs as well as on YouTube, because they will help you put this into context of the use case first before you go invest a bunch of time to actually ingest sample data.
I gave links to a bunch of demos on task mining. Many of them are done by you, Nupur, actually by you. I will also place the links for process mining now, so you can have access to those, but it's correct. So I think maybe you can start watching the demos, start with the community edition and task mining, and then move onwards.
Right. So I saw a couple more comments in the section. One is wanting to know how to find out about Orchestrator. So again, I think just going to the Academy and looking for courses on Orchestrator will help you do that. There's also some questions about careers. We will be going through that with Manjula in just a minute here when she goes through the demo days. And you can ask any questions you need then.
I'll just chime in really quick from the product side. We make everything as publicly available as we can on our community page. So obviously all the community pages beyond just Academy, definitely look at those for the latest updates and the forums, because a lot of the questions you're going to have, you have probably been asked before by somebody else. And then I sound like a broken record, but there's a ton of stuff on YouTube, and a lot of it's supported and published by UiPath, but a lot of it is also from the other people in the UiPath community, like our partners and implementation support folks. So I definitely recommend checking those videos out. I personally learned a lot from the UiPath community resources that were out there. I use that in addition to Academy to actually start working at UiPath.
Great. Okay, I think we have everything. Again, the second part of this session is we're going to be going through demo days and the projects. But before we do that, Christina Vidu and I are going to host a Menti quiz to have a little bit of fun.
Yes. 1 minute. Let
So I just put the code in chat and Chris will pull up the screen.
Right away.
So just remember, you guys, the quicker you answer, the better your results are. And we're going to wait a couple of minutes for everybody to log in. So please do that. And then the top people who get the top 3 scores, we'll call you guys out. And then you just want to put your email in chat to me when we're done. So we hope you guys learned a lot from Christina and Nupur. So the link is, hold on, I'll put it in chat again. And the code.
If you scan the code, it will take you directly into the quiz room, and it's easier to join from mobile. So I encourage you strongly to use the mobile to join the quiz room, because it will be easier for you to take the quiz and to answer faster. And let us know in the chat once you joined. So I'm going to switch screen just in a bit. So I'll give you like 5-10 more seconds to scan the QR code. But please hurry. Okay, so we have a lot of people who already joined. Okay, just a bit more. Not the QR code. Well, okay. Then also pasted like the link and the pass if you want to go by link and password into the quiz room. Okay, let's see how many we have now in the quiz room from the session. So we have a total of 168 people in the session, and we aim to get at least half in the quiz room. So this means around 80. Let's see a bit. I'm going to just stop sharing a bit. Let's see where it means. Okay, so we have 51 represented. It's a bit more. 52, 53. Come on, guys. I'll give you again the QR code.
This is a little bit of a knowledge check for you guys, so it's good to participate.
Yes, and after this quiz, maybe you can also like brainstorm, because we'll have a few minutes left, like what other questions you would like to place until the end of the session, because at the end of today in the wrap-up email, you will receive the Academy assignment for the week, which we'll have to do, of course, with task mining and process mining. Not very big assignment, still in Academy, still just 2 courses, but think well whatever you might want to ask before starting tomorrow onwards learning till Sunday. Okay, I think we can start probably now. We have 72 people, and I think it stopped at 72. So we'll go on now and go on with the questions. And remember, answer fastest to get more points. So what is the primary capture mechanism for data as a user clicks types with task mining? You have screenshots, OS level events, browser events. So 3 options for a correct answer. Primary capture mechanism. Okay. So
74%, great.
Woohoo, I did my job.
yeah, that's a great answer. Most of you got it. Let's see the leaderboard now. I think Monica was kind of leading in the other session as well. Okay, so we
Yeah,
have
great.
Monica Vinod and Rich Martinez. Okay, let's go to the next question. Remember, this leaderboard will change, as you have seen during our last week Menti quiz. It changed completely at the end, so there are chances for everyone. And question 2. Oh my God, we're up at 123. This is good. Answer fast to get more points. What is the latest task mining feature experience that was released GA for general audience? Task capture, unassisted task mining, or assisted task mining?
Answer fast.
Okay, I think every question has 25 seconds as time to answer. Oh, some debate there.
That was a little harder of a question.
Yeah, maybe a bit of history. So it's assisted task mining, yes. We'll move to the leaderboard. And as you can see, scores have completely changed. What did I tell you?
Gabriella.
Gabriella, yes. Romania is going strong. I like it. Okay. So, first question. We have only 2 more. 25 seconds. Where does the recorder have to be to capture task mining data? Nowhere. On a Windows machine in a cloud server. So where do you have the recorder? Perfect. Yeah,
Very good.
yeah. On a Windows machine. That's where the recorder is. It's not nowhere. Where is nowhere? Let's see the leaderboard. But I agree that was a tricky answer. But we used to put these kind of answers like nowhere, messenger pigeon. We had these like trick answers in many quizzes. So apologies for that. So again, complete change here. And the last question now. So everybody get ready. The fourth question, the one that decides our winners for today. What is the primary objective of process mining? To create and design new processes, to document and archive historical processes, to analyze and optimize existing processes. This is a bit easier. So our last question is very easy, especially in terms of timeline.
Whoa.
Yes. Yes, very good. Yes.
Yeah, and you might have got the right answers, but but it depends on the timing that you answer as to who is leading the leaderboard.
Yes, because of course 97 of you got the right answer, but it also depends like overall how many right answers you get and how fast you actually place them in. So now we're going to see who is leading that race. Okay, we have the number as well. It's not only one winner, we have 3, so Kinnary and the number are winners as well. I will ask you 3 to please DM in Zoom, so send a private message to Diana Gray, our colleague, and your host today with your email addresses. You can say your name and your email address so Diana can send you the winning vouchers for this quiz. And thank you
Congratulations,
for
you guys.
participating.
Great job.
Okay.
All right. So don't forget, like as Chris mentioned, to put your email addresses in chat for me. Appreciate it for the top 3 places. And then I am going to turn over our session now to Mukesh.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and let me know if you're able to see it now.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Mukesh Kala and I today want to present you that what exactly would be the format of the project which we are expecting you guys to complete. And this is a PowerPoint presentation. This is a template which we have created. It would be good for us to validate and all of us would be in the same format of the projects, right? So I'm going to explain you what exactly you have to put. And after that, I'm going to show you one of the sample project which I have created so that it is easy for you to understand the complete thing. Okay. So the template start with this one, Business Analyst Series. You have to put your first name and the last name, and then you have to put the name of your project. So it can be invoice processing, it can be DB management or anything, whatever project you have to just put your first name, last name, and the project name, right? So that is the first slide. In the second slide, you have to put your photograph, which company, your email address you're working, and the details, which would be handy for us, your name, title. In case you're not working, you can leave this field blank. If you are a student analyst career, which region you are joining, and the LinkedIn URL, which is your profile URL of the LinkedIn. Post that, the third slide talks about the problem statement and the proposed solution, which means that the automation, whatever you have created and whatever you have done the analysis for, what exactly is the problem? What problem the automation is going to solve, and what would be the solution, right? So this slide, you have to just talk at a high level that what is the problem and what is the solution. Once you have given that, the next you have to show is that what is the as-is diagram. So now people who are following this training, I hope that now you guys understand what is the as-is diagram, that how the business is doing the process manually. And similarly to as-is, we have something which is called a to be, that how the automation is doing it. So for this submission, you have to provide us the as-is diagram and the to be diagram, that how the robot is going to do it, right? After that, this is a overview template which would talk about that what exactly the automation is doing. And these are the set of questions which we have put. You are free to remove and add your own things. If you feel that there is something which is not applicable, we have just given instruction that you can mention as NA and you can add the more details here, right? So such as what is the input data, it can be Excel, it can be database, it can be email ID, what is the output data. So you have to fill these questions, and if these are not relevant to your process, you can remove them and add the additional details, right? And this format is exactly coming from the task capture, which is also a part of this series, okay? And this is the last slide of this presentation, which is a one pager where you see all these details, which includes the problem statement, as is to be, what you have covered, the process diagram, what are the technologies you have used, the business benefit, as is in the to be. So the idea of this slide is that for the evaluator to see everything in the single page, that what you have done, this is nothing but the same thing which we have covered in a single consolidated view, right? So this is the template of the project which you guys have to fill and submit for the evaluations, okay? And quickly, I want to share one more on the same. I want to show you this thing, right? So this is a project which I created. I hope, let me just share it. I am not sharing it. Okay, I'll stop this sharing. And then I'll share this one. Okay. Here it is. Okay, so this is the same slide which I have created for one project. This I have shown in the first presentation also. Just for the people who have not seen the presentation, I'm just going to tell you that what exactly is the project which I explained, right? So this is a process which I have done the business analysis. So the as is flow which talks about, I'll just skim through the slides. I won't take much of the time. So it is just like the process start. There is a customer who is sending the credit card application. There is a bank who is receiving those credit card applications. Now there is a person who is sitting in the bank. He validates whether the email is correct, the attachments are correct. If everything is correct, then he downloads the attachment from the email, extract the information, enter the details in the banking system. Then the bank already has the customer data. Is Mukesh is applying, they will match whether the details I have in the form are matching with the master data. Then whatever details they have got, they will apply for the card. If the card is successful, they send an acknowledgement to the customer. Otherwise, they say, hey, there are some errors, right? So this is the manual process which the bank is doing today. Now, if I see that, yes, there is a lot of manual work, repetitive work, which is going on, lot of credit card applications are coming. Can we automate this with RPA? The answer is yes. And that's where your problem and the solution will come in picture, right? So the problem statement says that we have 25 full-time employees who are handling 30,000 requests per month for this bank. The requests are received via email. They include a PDF attachment, which are both standard and sometimes they are handwritten also. Among those requests, 2,000 to 4,000 are the one which goes to end-to-end processing. Apart from that, there are, let's say, close to 25,000 request which do not fall into the end-to-end processing. That means still the bank employees have to spend time validate them, right? So RPA comes here as a solution which validates everything. We do the process of approval, rejection, everything, and then we also talk about that what exactly would be the benefits, right? So in this slide I'm just talking what is the problem and what is the solution. If I talk about the to be process, what exactly how the process will look like when the robot is doing it. So the customer will start and it will send the credit card application via an email, right? So the customer had sent a credit card application. There is a robot. Now this is a robot, smiling robot. It receives the application. The robot has capabilities to read the emails. It will go to the email, validate the email. It will validate whether the attachment is correct or not. If the attachment which I require is PDF, if the customer has sent a photo or a zip file, I would simply say no and I will generate an exception. And what would happen? That exception would be now sent to the customer saying that, hey, whatever you have sent, it's not correct. If everything is correct, the robot will download the PDF, extract and put it into some folder location. Now the robot will extract the information. It will validate with the master database. If it is correct, then it will key in details. If it is not correct, then it will include a human in the loop where you say that, hey, I extracted this information. Do you want to validate whether this information is correct? The human says that yes, this is correct. So humans in the loop, the bank personnel will validate. It will correct the information. If there is some additional information required, key in the detail, match the detail, enter the system and generate the confirmation. So this would be the to be process for the same problem statement. And lastly, I have included one additional slide. This is just to show you that when you are submitting the project, if you feel that you have some additional details which you want to the use case, you are free to add additional slides, right? So if I talk about my automation, if I do that, I would be getting all of these benefits, right? And last slide is this one, which is the consolidated view, where I have put all of these details in a consolidated view for the reviewer. Problem statement, as is to be, business benefits, how many applications I'm receiving, what is the saving, how many FTs are saved, what are the technologies I am using, Outlook, Excel, bank application, which all products of UiPath we are utilizing. So single consolidated view for the use case, right? I'll take a pause if you have any questions till this point. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, can you share the sample? Yes, everything, this sample and everything would be shared to you. And I'm going to share you what exactly, where you have to find it, right? So I'll just escape this presentation. I'll close this. The next thing which I'm going to share you is a form, right? Where you have to fill these details. So this is how the form will look like. I'll post the link of the form. You would be getting it via different sources, right? So what does this form all about, right? So this form has these details and here is a template link which you can just click and you will be directly redirected to the same template. You can just download the template and you can put your details, right? So this is the same template which I was showing initially. The sample, everything is available here. You can utilize and fill it from the template link. Okay, so I think that answers the first question. You have to just provide your name, your email ID, the organization you are working for. If you're not working, you can just mention not applicable or NA, city, your country, right? And then you have to upload your project link here, link to the public project, right? So what we notice is that some of you were facing difficulty in uploading the zip files, so we don't want to happen it here. So what you have to do is you have to upload your project to a online repository, right? You can upload it to Google Drive, you can upload it to OneDrive, make the URL public and put the URL here so that all of us can access it, right? And I have just added one additional information that how can you verify whether it's publicly accessible or not. You can just go to your browser, open the incognito mode like this and just paste the URL like this, right? If you are able to access it, so let's say this is the drive, right? So this is your link. I have made it public. So I go to incognito mode, I paste the link and I hit enter. I am able to see the content, right? So if you are able to see the content in incognito mode, that means we also would be able to access your files, right? It is just like uploading it to online storage and providing the link here, right? Now, there is one section which is talk about would you like to participate in demo day, right? So submitting of a project is mandatory, but demo day is optional, which Manjula is going to talk about. So you have to just provide your availability for that. And lastly, if you want to participate, you have to confirm that you have completed all the learnings, you have put everything, and you would be available for demo day, right? And lastly, there is one additional question that after this, if we do some mentor workshop, would you be available after the demo day? So this is the form. All the links, everything would be shared to you after the session.
So Mukesh, can
And
you
yeah,
put the link in chat? I put it in there, but just to make sure. And
yeah,
then
I'll do that.
also there's a couple of questions. What is a deadline? Can you go through that again?
Yeah, I'll just go here and I'll put it. And this is the link. I have put it here. I think you guys should have access to it, right?
Right.
Manjula, you want to talk about demo day and the timelines?
Perfect. I'll just do that. Thank you, Mukesh.
Okay.
And yeah, okay. Yeah, you can just
Stop the sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Welcome everyone. Once again, thanks for just being over here. It is really amazing to see all of your involvement over here, and day after day, how we are just coming and then taking the inputs together. And we all join hands together to make this session something different for you. It's just not the learning, it's just going to be something where you can apply this in practical. So that's the purpose why we have just made this as a demo day for you. But before I go to the demo day, so the 5th week, you're just going to have a similar Monday and the Wednesday session. Monday session is just going to be the certification. How do you get your certification? We are just going to clarify that and give you the additional information and tips for you so that you can also just look forward, make use of this program rather than just taking the e-learning. Someone have just been with you to just talk about how this program all about, the practical tips, you have taken the notes. How do you cross your certification path? You will be getting to know about it. So that's going to happen on the last week on Monday, which you will get to know. And once more, we will also reiterate the elements required for you to just come into the demo day. So what is the demo day we are talking about? So whatever you have just learned, we wanted to make sure you are able to think and apply in your domain, in your project, in your work career, wherever you are, so that it becomes useful for you. So it is not mandatory for everybody to come and present, but it is mandatory for everybody to just share your project learnings. So you can conceive a project. It could be a hypothetical project if you don't know. For example, many of you are just starting as a fresher. You may not know what is that a background. So you can create, okay, Uber, Ola. If you are going to create an automation for Uber, Ola, what is that process you would like to automate? How will you optimize? That could be a scenario, right? So it could be hypothetical or it could be your industry case. Bring it over there and the templates has been given over here. And you would be given with the industry experts, mentors would be there where they would be evaluating. Each of you would be given you maximum of 5 minutes, but you need to be making sure before 5 minutes you are able to articulate and then make it. So the last slide what Mukesh has just given, one picture which is you're depicting the project description as is to be and the benefits what you are going to create, that's going to be your final pitch where you can use it very well, what you have understood, how do you just apply your learnings in your real world scenario. So that's going to be the demo day, and we are just going to evaluate and then figure it out who are all needs a support or who are all just understood very well. That's going to be created for you as a next learning plan. So why are we doing? That's the first question I would just like you to know about it. One, to give you the exposure of what you learn and apply into the practical way of what is the automation happens in the real-time world. And second, after this, we would also wanted to be with you to just help you for your next level of a learning, which in terms of your could be your career upgrade, or it could be programs what you are just understanding the automation to go to the next level of a certification. Both we are here to just help you out. So the demo day is just going to be the option for us to know about it. We just see 400 people have been enrolled with us. How many of them are just going to come for a demo day? from the demo day, how many of you are going to be with us to help you for the next level of advancements. So that's the purpose of the demo day. Happy to just pick up any questions over here. Anything
in the mentor program?
Sorry, come again.
Yeah, so before we get going, demo day is week 5, and that starts on December 11th. And that first day, we're going to start the session with some people who have gone through the BA certification, and they have passed it. They're from UiPath, they're MVPs. And so they're going to answer some questions on the process. And then the rest of the time, that session is really helping you go through your projects, answering any questions that you have. Another question that came up, Manjula, was, are they supposed to follow the exact framework that Mukesh went through? No, this is based on what you're learning in this series, what your project would be as Manjula started. It can be theoretical. It can be something that you want to make up based on all the information you're gathering. What project can you envision? And then we want you to create a path or use the example to create that structure for us, so we can make sure that you've understood that, all the information, because that is what Manjula is talking about. Some people might be more equipped to, provide all that detail and provide that. Others might feel a little nervous. And so, if you're nervous, you don't need to present on the demo day, but Manjula will be reaching out and having mentor sessions afterwards to help guide you a little bit more so that you do feel comfortable. We still want you to try, though, and submit a project plan so we can kind of get a gauge on where everybody is in the process, because we have quite a few people who have attended these sessions.
Right. Thanks, Diana, for just sharing that.
Yeah, can you explain the mentor workshop a little bit? And I think we had a couple of questions about careers.
All right.
Like,
yeah, so the mentor workshop is okay. The demo day is just going to tell us about it, who all needs the kind of a mentoring to take you to the next level. So for us, in order to plan your mentoring workshop, to bring the industry experts, to give you the project, upskilling to the next level, or finding the career opportunity, everything starts from this demo day, what we are talking about. As you're just seeing about it, not everybody are looking for a demo day. But if you are looking for expanding your career zone, you want the stepping stone where with our mentor support to just guide you, just be participative in the demo day, and we just gauge you where you are in the journey, how much you have just learned. And for that, just once more, I would like to reiterate, in order to just participate a demo day, we also just wanted you to just finish your all the 4 days of learning and the certification. That needs to be done. So finish it and then come to the demo day. And after that, we will just take you to the mentoring session. You will get to know about the mailer and the communication, the mentor day planning and etc. That probably will just start from the January. After that, people will just go for a Christmas holidays. And when you're just going to come back to Jan, and you would be just hearing from us your mentoring session plan, how we are just going to just go through that.
Yeah, in order to participate in the demo day, Mukesh showed you on the form, there's 3 things you can fill out. One is, yes, you want to participate in the demo day and your projects will be ready in order to do that. 2 is you're going to submit your project and you're not really wanting to present. That's fine. And then if you want to participate in the mentor day, make sure you check that box and we'll reach out to you.
True. So just make sure you are finishing your 4 days of assignments, and then finish your PPT and share it with us, and then come to prepare for presenting into the demo day. These are all the 3 steps you are going to just do that. Yeah, there is someone who wanted to ask. Go ahead.
Hi, Manjula. So just wanted to know the template which has been shared in WhatsApp group. That is the one where we have to amend everything and we have to present it?
True, true. Yeah, you are connected with our team in WhatsApp. Please go ahead. That's the right thing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Manjula, I joined today since I have missed my previous 3 classes. I'll be going through the video recording. So meanwhile, could you please add me in the WhatsApp group? What is the process for that?
Sure. You will be just getting an Revati over here and she will just do that. No worries. Yeah.
I
sure.
would also like to have the same added to the WhatsApp group because I missed the first few classes too.
Yeah, Revathi, do you want to put your email address in chat if anybody wants to join that?
I would do that. Here I know.
Okay, I think that's the best way, you guys, is reach out directly.
Yeah.
Same here. I have also missed my classes. I just joined the WhatsApp group, but if we could get the steps before the demo, someone just said these are the 3 steps to be done. Can we just get it noted in the WhatsApp group?
Yeah, so Geeta, you just need to copy the chat. And in there, Christina put the URL to the forum where all the information is. And then you also, in the chat, have access to the form, which leads you to the presentation template. It provides the steps that need to guide you through the process.
True. You will also get a mail from Christina at every week. You're getting the consolidated mail, which has got all the information, what has just happened and where is the form, etc. So if you have registered for the course, just look out your email. You will also get that summary for every session.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Ramya, please go ahead. I just ask your question.
Yeah, hi. So I'm new to the BA or IT or any field. So I never done any projects or something. So to get to do this work which has been given, the as in process, how will I get to know the workflow to improve it over?
Very good question. All right. So you can just go through the e-learnings, what has been kept for you every week. And when you just follow your e-learning, you will also go through the content, what the instructors have just taken you through that. And you will understand better on that. Complete the e-learning. That will give you the clarity. Is that fine?
So which field I'll take and how will I know which field to choose and how is the as-in process in that field? Like how will I get to know those details?
Very good. So again, as I said, as a business analyst, when you're just going to talk about it, you are going to understand the business. Now that you never been work or you never been part of the IT or something, that's where I was giving you the hypothetical story. You look at that today, you just go to a bank, right? And when you just go to the bank, you just stuck for a longer time. Why? Why can't I just apply my business analyst course, what I learned? How do I improve the banking system? Could be that. Or you book a ticket somewhere. It could be an air ticket or could be a cab, whatever you're going to book, and you're going to look at that. So the lens, what you're going to wear after this session, what you're going to go through it, any system, how do I look at that to just build it as a better system? That is the access is a today's system, what you have just gone through. And to be is what is that you are envisioning, which is going to improve it better. When you make it improved version of it, the process is getting fine-tuned and you're bringing the efficiency and you're saving the money. So this is all the course what you have just learned about it. When you go through the e-learning, you would be able to look at that a practical way of applying it in your real term. Is that make sense, Ramya, now?
Okay, yeah.
I would just like to add that how can you find the use cases? You can go to internet and you just search RPA use cases in banking industry. Then you can just search RPA use cases in insurance, RPA use cases in manufacturing, and you will get a lot of use cases. You just have to go through the case studies, understand the problem, and then you can come up. That's also one way of getting ideas on the RPA use cases.
Yeah, and there's a question too about what if you get stuck? You guys have the forum. We want you to ask your questions on the forum so that everybody can see them and we can answer them.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Anyone else wanted to answer?
So you have a couple of more hands up.
Hands up. That's where. Yeah. Apurva, please go ahead. or Shushri?
Yeah, Manjula, can we use our existing projects where we are doing? We are not will not reveal that, but we can use that as a sample for that.
Please
Okay.
go ahead and use it, right? So that's also possible. Just go ahead. And yeah, as you rightly said, if it is a confidential information, please don't disclose it. Just make it as a generic part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, Purva, please go ahead.
Hi, Manjula. I was just wondering if there are any vouchers for giving BA certification exam for students.
So as for this program, whoever has been enrolled, Diana has just given the clear information. So there is a knowledge check is going to happen after we complete the session, just to understand, have you really just gone through that? And in the knowledge check, when you're just going to look into that, when you're taking the 25% of the people who are on the top lead have just been allocated to get you the possibility of a 50% voucher. That's where they have just created as of now. Anything beyond that, the student or something like that, all of you will get to know, but I'll leave it to Diana to answer that.
Yeah, if you're a student in a university or a school that's part of the academic program, then they typically get 50% off anyway. So you just need to check to see if they're part of, if the school is part of the program.
Yeah, I did reach out to Christina, who is part of Academic Alliance.
Yeah, that's right. So you can just check with her. Yeah, correct.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Good to go. Any other questions? Feel free to just ask, because this is the forum where you will get to know more about it, and we are all available here to support. So any questions, don't just keep it within yourself. Feel free to ask. Go ahead, Sangeeta.
Yeah, basically, I am myself as a business analyst. So I just came to know about the RPA thing and the RPA's upcoming thing. So is this title for an RPA business analyst?
Yes.
So whatever tools we use for our business analysis, they won't be useful here.
No, for RPA, UiPath RPA business analyst, this is exclusively, we are just taking the automation process. How are you doing? So UiPath tools have been exposed to you here for this particular certification, whatever you are taking care. But as a business analyst, if you are just exposed with the tools like Visio or any other process mining tool, still it would be applicable for you for a different context. But for this context, it's just the UiPath tools, what you are going to be exposed with and what you're going to do that.
So this certification becomes important for an RPA business analyst, sort of.
Yes.
Okay.
For UiPath, yeah, that's true. So for example, if you can just say that you are a developer, but you are a Java developer, you are a .NET developer, when you're saying it's a RPA, it's a lot of tools are available from Microsoft Automation anyway, and etc. So that's where I just keep telling that you are a RPA BA, but then specialized on the UiPath part of it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
So there was a certification question, and the question was, is it the knowledge test that they have to do, the knowledge check? Is it the same as a Menti quiz? No. This is something that the certification team themselves is putting together, and it's actually going to be hosted by them separately. What they're trying to do is understand through the series, what you guys are retaining and that type of thing. And so again, they're going to be putting that together. It's separate from this in our group. And then the other question was, do you get a prize for doing the projects? No, the prize is you get to present if you want to. So, this is an opportunity for you to get in front of people who are our partners, who work at UiPath, if you want to present your project, so they can provide you feedback. And then the only contest really at the end of the session is, for you to do the knowledge check and have a chance to win, 50% off the certification. And the knowledge check that the certification team will do will be after this whole course is completed, the series is completed, They will reach out to everybody, and they will host that and take care of that. So you can expect that probably sometime in January.
Hi, Praharsha, please go ahead, unmute yourself and just tell us.
I have a small question related to task mining. Could I ask?
Okay.
So, how can task mining be effectively implemented in to improve business process in the large organizations, big and large organizations?
Lovely. Okay. Mukesh, you wanted to check in?
Yeah, okay. So task mining can be helpful. Let's say if I am a CEO of the company, okay, I have 100 employees and I want to automate a process. How would I know which process should I automate, right? My 100 employees are doing 100 different tasks. So if I have to do an automation, I have to make sure that I select the correct automation, which is having more number of repetitive steps, right? So one way is the traditional way. I go to each and every person and I say, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Give me that in Excel. Rather, what I'll do is I'll run a utility called task mining, run it in the background, capture all the data, right? And I will have a graph which will say that, hey, Prasha is spending 10 hours on Excel. Sukanya is spending 2 hours on database, right? And then I have the holistic view and I can say that, yes, this is the task, which is the correct candidate for automation. Does that answer?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question.
Okay, I think Sangeeta is asking. Go ahead, Sangeeta.
I just wanted to know whether this recording will also be available.
Yeah, it is available when after you finish the session in the same page. If you go there, the recording is also available. You can watch.
It's always available one day after the session.
Oh, okay, thanks.
All right. Okay, fine. All right. Awesome. I think there is a question from Rich. Probably we'll just take that as okay. 2 more is coming beyond that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
What is the primary benefit of having the certification, the business analyst certification?
I have to ask.
Yeah, I
Dana.
think that, yeah, sure. I think having a certification is a credential that most people recognize in the industry. So if your career is in automation, it's a great skill. It's a newer skill that most people don't have. So it's just opens doors, quite frankly. It's like getting a degree in school. Certification for any of our products is just a way to show people that you know it, you've studied it, and you were able to provide the information back to a certification team that you know what you're talking about so that they don't have to guess. It also builds confidence. Yeah.
And just to add a small point there, whenever you do any of this certification, you get a credential, which is an credibly verified credential, which you can post it on your LinkedIn, on your profile. Anybody can click on that. It's not like that I have not done a certificate. I can just copy the logo and paste it in my resume and I say that, hey, I'm certified, right? When you do this certification, you receive a credential, which is only and only for you. You click on it, it goes to the website, the employer validates it, and then it's the complete thing, right? So you also get a credential. Just to add, yeah.
Good. Yeah, Mosami, just go ahead.
Yeah, Manjula, I have a question. Like, since I said that I was not able to attend the previous sections, so hopefully within 1-2 days I'll go through all the contents, whatever recordings and all. So if I have any questions on that, how to like get it clarified.
So as Dana was talking, forum has been everybody's connected. So post your questions on the forum, so you would be able to get that, and people would be able to answer that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And what about the certification details like cost and all? Where can I get that?
As I just said, if you have registered, you will get a every class session summary email from the Christina, which is giving you the complete detail. So just keep a watch of it, and you are part of the group. You ask, you are part of the forum. Every place, wherever it's possible, we are handholding. We are connected in the journey. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the cost for the BA certification, I believe, is $300 US dollars. Again, it's a great reason to, at the end of this series, is take the knowledge check from the certification team for an opportunity to win half off that. But you can find information about this certification by just going to uipath.com, looking up certification.
Okay, okay, thank you.
I think we are good to go. It's Dana, shall we just go ahead?
I think we have just two more.
Okay, go ahead, Ramya.
My question is like, if I'm implementing a UiPath in a business, so it can be like the business, I want to know whether what size of the business it can be applied. If it's a small business or a large business, like what will be the cost that will take that would cost for applying the UiPath to the business. So if it is a very small scale business, and if this will be more expensive, they cannot apply it over there, right? So just want to know about that.
Mukesh, do you want to answer that one?
Sorry, can you just repeat? I was just answering the question in the chat. I might have missed it. My bad.
Okay, I'll just repeat that. So
Yeah.
cost of implementation of a UiPath for SME when they are not able to afford, how do we differentiate? What is the cost for implementing the UiPath in real world? The license.
Okay, so yeah, so basically you don't directly go and you start the process by just purchasing the license and then you do the automation, right? UiPath has something which is called the community edition that serve the purpose where you can just do a smaller POC, which stand for proof of concept. So if you have 100 transaction, you do a POC with 10 transaction. If you are able to see the benefits, then you go for the paid license and then you scale accordingly, right? It's not like that on the day one you go and you need to have the licenses. And enterprise licenses, what you are going to get, you also on the top of community edition, you can request for a 60 days trial. So you exactly get what you are going to get when you purchase the licenses. So you have 60 days trial to evaluate all of this, generate, calculate, evaluate, and then take the decision of purchasing it. Does that answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, and then one more question.
Yeah.
Praharshka.
Hey, hi.
Another question related to process mining. So how can organizations leverage process mining techniques to enhance the efficiencies and streamline of the business process?
Okay, so process mining uses the data whichever your business is using. It identify the bottlenecks, what are the deviations, it gives you the ideal flow. It is kind of a supervisor to your task mining. So task mining was for individual task, process mining is for the individual process level. So it will identify and it will say that, hey, you are doing the process in 10 steps, rather you could do the process in 4 steps. And if you implement a robot, the robot will do the same process in 2 steps, right? I believe you might have missed the previous session on the task mining and the process mining. So I would request you to go back and just watch the previous 2 sessions by Nupur and Christina, right? On the
Yes.
process mining and the task mining, that will give you the complete overview, right? And any more questions you have, feel free to drop me an email or use the forum.
Yes, I will.
Awesome.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to stop this session because people are having to leave for other calls. So thank you everybody for joining again. We're gonna start again next Monday. If you have any additional questions, please put them on the forum and we'll work on getting those answered as well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.